Welcome back to the channel. Warhammer Man back in the studio, and today we're taking a look at a new article from Warhammer community about the new Chaos Knights and some of the households and other details as well. If you're new to the channel, make sure to like and subscribe for Warhammer 40,000, Kill Team Necromunda, Age of Sigmar, and warcry content as well. So obviously a lot of people are excited after the most recent Knight trailer. We know that we're getting a new codex for Chaos Knights and Imperial Knights as well, and here are some details. I've not read this article yet, so let's get excited together and find out what they have to share with us. These Chaos Knights Dread households are coming to stomp on the galaxy. So we've got obviously the households. We know they previously had some households, but they didn't really have like special rules. There was basically just like two ways you could divide your faction, and then you got like some rules accordingly. And then we saw households more used in the Imperial Knight Codex with like tons of special warlord traits, all kinds of different cool stuff, stratagems, relics, etc. So it's cool to see they're expanding the Chaos Knight Codex, and I'm definitely excited to see where they take it. The monstrous psychic Knight Abominate. Okay, that's a like mic drop right there. Psychic Knight Abominate. So there's going to be a psychic Chaos Knight. That's awesome. I was revealed at Adepticon along with the new Codex Chaos Knights. Now we're taking a first look inside its cursed pages to learn about some of the vilest dread households to ever claim a Chaos Knight and their most infamous battles. So this here is the Knight Abominate. Awesome to find out that it's a psychic knight. I don't know what that's going to translate to. I don't know what kind of psychic powers it's going to have. Offensive, defensive, somewhere in between. But we already know it's got a crazy looking combat weapon and straight up like beast mode looking gun. So a combination of those two things plus psychic, we know this thing is going to be awesome. And we've got our little Knight Moirax down here as well. So hopefully we'll get some details on them too. House Lucaris. House Lucaris, could go either way, threw in their lot with the Arch Trader during the Horus Heresy, and they didn't take the War Master's death well. Vowing vengeance upon the Imperium, they've been as good as their word for 10,000 years, butchering their way across the galaxy from their warp storm-shrouded homeworld, Morda Prime. So this is obviously a pretty traditional looking paint scheme we've seen, and obviously a house with a lot of background as far as Games Workshop has just disclosed. I really like this. I love the combination of like the kind of like dark blue and then the white and red and then little bits of gold and silver as well. Super cool paint job overall. Very, very nice. The cool like heraldry. I like the kind of dragon, the snake, and then the combination of like the chaos symbol and everything. Very cool. Definitely liking that one. Infamous battle. The fall of Gragan Keep. In the wake of the Horus Heresy, the Knights of House Lucaris came to blows with a member of their household who remained loyal to the Imperium. Unflinching steel was wrecked and dragged back to Morda Prime, where it said the noble pilot is still undergoing punishment 10 millennia later. House Herpetrax. It's a bit tricky to call House Herpetrax traitors since they never actually swore allegiance to the Imperium. Their homeworld of Jadathra was only discovered long after the Great Crusade, and having spent most of Old Knight rejection, so-called emperors of mankind, when the representatives of a dead one showed up, the Herpetrax decided they'd much rather stick with their profane rituals than worship a corpse on a golden throne. So these are sort of like, they remind me of like the Death Guard or like Nurgle, knights. They kind of have that same paint job going. I've actually painted some knights in this color scheme before. It looks absolutely phenomenal. It's really nice how these colors go together. Obviously we see it throughout like the Nurgle range and everything. Definitely have some awesome details. It's cool to get to do like the weathering and kind of grossness, and then add in like the nice crisp colors. And obviously these colors go very nicely together. Super cool. Infamous Battle of Kreen Scar. Billions died when House Herpetrax invaded the Kreen worlds and enslaved their populations, using them to dig up the foundations of their own hive cities in search of ancient technology. Once they claimed their prize, Herpetrax exterminated the surviving slaves via massed orbital bombardment. That's pretty harsh. That's awesome. House Chimere. House Chimere fell foul of the strange way time moves within the warp. This once loyal house emerged from the cicatrix maledictum to attack the Imperium and were promptly declared iconoclasts. When an Imperial strike force arrived to destroy their homeworld of Surtur's Wake, the confused nobles claimed to be loyal to the God Emperor. To save their planet, House Chimere fled into the Great Rift, from which they would emerge, warped and embittered, years in their own past. That's crazy. So this one, a little more basic. Obviously, it's on a little knight too, so we don't get quite like the, quite the detail. But overall, pretty red. Obviously, got some gold and silver highlights. Cool overall, but definitely nothing compared to the other ones there. Obviously, has like kind of a corny vibe to it. Not corny, but like corn looking. Infamous battle, the conflagration and row zopfire. I don't know. These, look, let's be real. I'm never going to pronounce these words correctly, and I'm so used to mispronouncing and trying to figure out what all these crazy names and stuff are. Occasionally a regular word comes up, and I just assume it's some crazy thing, and then I can't even pronounce that right. So, and I know you guys are here just to make fun of my pronunciations and lack of reading skills, but hey, it is what it is. Knights from House Chimere tipped the balance in a battle between the White Scars and Slaaneshi demons, leading to the destruction of an Imperial Navy fleet. Once they ignited the fuel derricks supplying the Imperial forces, the fire spread to the atmosphere of an entire planet. So that's not good. Burning all the House Korvax. This one I like. When your entire planet is stolen and moved across the galaxy by Be'lakor, you have no choice but to pledge yourself to the Dark Master. That's just the rules. Hence, the former home of the loyal House Raven became the base of operations for the thrice-cursed House Korvax. Okay, that's pretty cool. So Be'lakor stole the planet, moved it across the galaxy, and that was the former home of the loyal House Raven. And then it became the cursed House Korvax. Wow, that is very, very cool. I like it. I like the Raven insignia. Definitely a big fan of this paint job. It's a little more simple, not quite as colorful, but the white and like the little bits of red really like stand out on this one. Definitely like the black details. And then I'm a big fan of when they have like one random panel with like a completely different kind of look to it. So like a lot of times the shoulder pads will be split down the middle, and the front half will have one pattern or color, and then the back half will have the other. Same thing with like the division down here. I really like that. Definitely like all the heraldry, the random like decals and everything like that on knights. It definitely takes it to the next level. Sometimes people don't like it as much on like smaller guys, tactical squads, smaller vehicles. But on the knights, it really just, there's so much like big panels and everything. And then if you use some nice like microsole, microset, and then do a little bit of weathering over top, they really just come out looking next level. Infamous battle, the battle for Colossi. When Be'lakor's dark influence over House Raven's sacrosanct was revealed, members of the Adeptus Sororitas rushed to the aid besieged loyalists. However, they were no match for the corrupted knights and their demonic allies, and the world of Colossi was spirited away. So that would be cool to have like Be'lakor and a bunch of knights, and it's sort of like, that's your force. House Vextrix. Even knight households want to impress their bigger brothers, and so when the Death's Head Titan Legion fell to chaos and declared for Horus, House Vextrix gladly followed them to the side of the traitors. Since then, they have welcomed the heretic influence of the Dark Mechanicum and seek to destroy any who still blindly worship the Omnissiah. That's such a weird word. The heretic influence? Heretical? I don't know. Definitely part of the weird spelling sometimes comes from the difference between like American English and like, British English. And, writing and everything. Obviously a lot of colors or a lot of words are spelled different, like color and stuff like that, but sometimes things just look strange. But yeah, this one, Vextrix, Pretty cool overall. Again, I like the green. This one's a little more like rich. This is cool because you see the like kind of black flames here, and then you see like the kind of green and black flames instead of just like the clean line between them. Pretty cool. Definitely a cool little face mask there too. Completely like different from the rest of the knight. And then obviously the storyline's kind of cool too. They're like, oh, we'll just join this Titan Legion. It's probably a good idea. Infamous battle, the massacre of Beta Garmin. In one of the final battles before the siege of Terra, untold number of Titans clashed throughout the Beta Garmar star cluster. House Vextrix marched to battle alongside the Titans of Legio Mortis, helping to ensure victory for the forces of Horus. House Commentus? On the night world of Madarak, the nobles of House Commentris perfected their tactics by hunting and taming predatory beasts. Embittered by the Imperium's destructive exploitation of their home planet, these fallen nobles turned to chaos. Bonded with demonic symbiotes, their war dogs flush out prey for the larger knights to obliterate. Bonded with demonic symbiotes. So that's pretty cool. That is pretty cool. So they have like some kind of like demon kind of like symbiote on the smaller knights, and then these are still this one's pretty cool. I like this. It's the other like red one was kind of like, I don't know, just a little too basic for me. This has a nice amount of like red and gold, and then it has like black and white added in to give it like an extra little something something. I definitely like the heat looking on the picture right here. So some of these paint jobs are just gonna be awesome. I'm definitely looking forward to this. Infamous battle, the Hunt of Utakura. After a band of Krut saboteurs take down a lone war dog and devour the fallen noble within, this demonic partners mark the alien mercenaries for vengeance. A lance of knights from House Commentus soon arrived, and the hunters became the hunted. I mean, if that's your infamous battle, like honestly, no offense to this knight group, but if your like big battle that you're known for is taking down some Krut that killed a war dog, it's, I don't know. Not impressed. I am not impressed. Those are the 6 most famous dread households of Chaos Knights. Which one will you pledge yourself to? This is a super cool paint job. I definitely like the, kind of... Oh, is that actually not even the paint job? Oh, you know what? That just might be like some actual light. You know what? The way it's kind of like projected on the back of this, it looks like that's not actually the paint job. That's like a light. Man, that can really like, I mean, this is a cool paint job, but that really makes me think that, having some kind of like patina, kind of Statue of Liberty looking type patina on a knight would be pretty awesome. And it almost looks like there is some of that going on, like on the bronze, on the gold, whatever you want to call it here. But then this is clearly light coming from the back of this, because you can see it like on the ground and everything as well. But definitely give you some ideas on that. But very cool. This new model is absolutely sick. I mean, his melee weapon is super awesome. I mean, I like how it kind of has like the tendrily like kind of whip thing going on with the blades. And they're kind of just in different, some are forward, some are backwards. But they're also kind of compacted together. So they're not just going to like break off, and they're not like out of control for storage and transportation. Also curious to find out about this gun. Obviously it has kind of like the plasma thing going on. Kind of has like, I don't know, maybe it'll be something completely different. Sort of reminds me of like the Volkite, like blasters or Volkite type weapons, and sort of like the way it's painted up as well. But finding out that this guy is a psyker is pretty awesome as well. So definitely looking forward to the new Chaos and Imperial Knights. The new Chaos Knights army set is coming soon. The Colossal box features the new Knight Abominate, 2 war dogs, a unique special edition of the new Codex Chaos Knights, and a set of data cards, making it perfect for anyone looking to stand at the vanguard of this titanic traitorous force. So just to kind of get an idea also, we know the Codexes are $55 now. We know that 2 of the regular war dogs are, I want to say 70. So 70 plus 55 plus the cards are 33. So that is 103 plus 55, 158. And then we know that the current Chaos Knights are actually cheaper than the Imperial Knights at 150. But let's just say this guy's going to be 170, just because I have a feeling that's what they'll do. They'll make them the same price as the regular Imperial Knights. Now, part of the reason they don't have the Chaos ones are actually cheaper. They have a bunch of extra little Chaos like bits and everything, but they don't have all like the weapon options. They don't come with, you know, all the extra guns, all the extra like top like missile racks and, you know, autocannons and stuff like that. So they basically cost $20 cheaper because of that. So if this one comes out at 150, what did I say? It was like a 158 or something like that. That will put this value in this box at about $300. So if the box is valued at like 300, I would expect GW to price it between like 200, maybe 225. So I think that's pretty realistic. You know, we'll have to see. Obviously, we don't know what these are going to be individually priced at. They may be more expensive. They may be the same price. But just going off what we already know, you know, you're basically looking at 55 for the book, 33 for the cards. So that's 88. And then let's say 150 for the knight. That's going to be, what, 238. And then 70 for the little knights. So that's 308. And then if it was 20 more than that, that would be 328. So between 308 and 328 retail is what I would expect. So essentially, based on the way Games Workshop typically values these kits or discounts these kits, if you just buy everything in a bundle, you know, you're paying obviously for the ability to get it ahead of time. It's also a limited edition Codex. It's kind of whatever. And then, you know, you have access early to the models and to the rules. So I would say probably 225 is what I would expect this set to come out. Maybe 220, because they've been raising prices, but then they've also just been like, we're going to raise them up a bunch, but not quite as bad as what you expect. So, you know, and again, I'm not defending their price raises by any means. I'm just saying, like, the way they kind of fall in line, they're sort of at the high end of what my guesses are usually, but they're not quite as high as what I was expecting. So every once in a while, I'm like, oh, I thought it was going to be worse than that. Still sucks for most people. And I'm not defending their prices, but I'm just saying, you know, they're not as bad as sometimes I'm expecting. So I guess that makes sense, hopefully. But this is a very, very cool paint job. Really, really like the Herpatrax. Maybe I'm just like a little bit, I wonder if I'm just a little bit biased because I've already painted knights like this. So it makes me like the paint job even more. I don't know. Oh, okay, I'm not crazy. This is another typo. Okay, look. Herpatrax. I thought that it was Herpatrax. You know, obviously sounds like something else. And then I'm down here and I'm looking at it and I'm like, oh, I've been mispronouncing this the whole entire time I've ever said this name ever or seen one of these. But no, I'm not. It's just another misspelled word by GW. It says Herpatrax down there. So, okay, I don't feel as crazy now. Yeah, this one is probably my favorite color scheme. I really like this. That blue and red and then like the white and black. I mean, it's just, this is just sick. I love this paint job. Or I love this style of paint job. Obviously, it's just a rendering, but very cool. Definitely excited for this. Finding out that this dude is a psyker is awesome. Cannot wait to see the stats on this. And then also, you know, this war dog is super freaking cool. I'm pretty sure they're going to have multiple faces for them as well. So that is pretty cool also. I like this face. It's not bad, but I'm interested. I think I would prefer more of like traditional kind of like knight or war dog faces. But see here where we see this knight right here is that same one, I think, from down below. And we do see that there is like that patina on the shoulder pads. So it must be just a combination of some backlight or like overhead light and then the patina itself. But I do really like that. This looks really good. I definitely like this. Let's go back down to that picture one more time. Close your eyes while I'm scrolling so you don't get sick, especially if you're watching this in fast forward. Yeah, see, so it's a combination of the two because we can see here this is clearly the patina that's like painted on, and then we can see on the back of the weapons and the back of like the body and like the leg right here and on that, and then the back of the leg right here, and then again on like the terrain down here, that is obviously like lighting coming from the back. So it is a combination of the two. So but anyway, that's it for today. Let me know if you are excited for these new knights. If you're going to play Imperial Knights, if you're going to play Chaos Knights and be a trader, or if you're just not interested in knights at all, and you just hope that you'll be able to beat them with your old army that's getting power creeped on left and right. Just curious to hear everybody's opinion. I'm definitely looking forward to the knights. I hope that they are really good, but also viable, and not so good that they're just like power creep over 9,000. I want to see them competitive and fun and able to be fielded and still do well, but also not just be so ridiculously overpowered that everybody hates them. I really like the knights. One of my big armies towards like the end of last edition that I had the most fun with, played quite a few games with, and was my favorite one to take to tournaments, was actually like an Imperial Knights army with scions. So it was really, really fun. You got a bunch of extra bodies from the scions. They were able to basically like just drop in, hold objectives, attack key points with a couple like special weapons, etc. But then had to, the punch and the fun and the less models of taking knights. So to me, that's really fun, especially if I'm going to go play a tournament with a bunch of games. I much prefer to just not be moving around like a Tyranid force of like 150 models, or like some orc horde or something like that. You got to keep track of everything. You got to measure all your movements. You got to be careful, but also you got to be fast. I feel like with, a couple big knights, 3-4 big knights, and then, a handful of infantry, you don't have nearly as many constraints. It's not as like exhausting on you as a player physically and mentally. So for me, knights are always super fun. And as long as they're kind of like, there's a lot of matchups where knights are just not going to do well. And then there's other matchups where they're going to do extremely well. So it's really fun to play like that. I like to kind of min-max stuff. So if you have an army that has a ton of special weapons or heavy weapons or hard hitters in combat, you're probably going to be able to smoke knights, but you might struggle against like a horde army. With knights though, if you run into a army that's only prepared to take on horde armies and has limited heavy weapons, they're going to have, trouble killing one or more knights in a turn and probably going to lose. So for me, Warhammer 40,000 is super fun. It should definitely be tactical, but also there should be like kind of a rock, paper, scissors type matchup. Like your army can be pretty good against everybody, but struggle against like hordes or heavy armor. Your army can be really good against heavy armor, but struggle against hordes. And, some just mid-range armies beat you, and then vice versa. You can have an army that's really good against hordes, but doesn't have what it takes to take out, like, heavy armor. And that's kind of like the rock, paper, scissors kind of setup to it. And then, obviously, there's, extreme swings one way or the other. But overall, I just like it. I like a meta where there's obviously a best army or a best, build or whatever for each faction, but also where you can just still take other stuff that's viable. You can play well, have fun, and you don't just feel like you don't stand a chance. So for me, it's all about the fun. I like the competitive aspect of it too, but to tell you the truth, the majority of the games I play are either just, fun with friends, or they're semi-competitive. I don't really get into like the hardcore, like, being a stickler on stuff. I want the game to be fun, even if I'm playing in a competitive setting. And part of the game being fun is it being fun for everybody. So being able to compete, enjoy yourself. So hopefully this Codex is going to come out and be a little more balanced. I don't want to see like the forever momentum of Codex creep keep like pouring down the pipeline and every Codex having to be like exponentially better than the one before. Maybe you disagree with me, and you figure that if you wait this long for your Codex, it should just destroy everyone and blow them out of the water. So in that case, we really got to be scared when Guard and Chaos get their Codexes, because they're going to be like some of the last ones for the edition. So if they're just going to be the best ones, it's going to be wild. I can only imagine. So that's it for today. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy Warhammer 40,000, Kill Team Necromunda, Age of Sigmar, and warcry content. Everything from reactions, reviews, news, and of course some speculations and mispronunciations, as well as, tutorials for painting, modeling, all kinds of stuff. We are a commission-based studio, so we recently just released a video on a commission for some terrain. So check that out if you haven't already. And then also got something coming up for an expansion force as well. We're finishing up on. Do stay very, very busy, and are very grateful for all of the people, all of the customers, clients that steady come back and give us an overwhelming amount of work and support. So that being said, Warhammer Man Studios, I'm Warhammer Man, and I'm out of here.